welcome to Find Your Fridays. Hi Debbie, how you going, darling? It's good to see you. How does it get any more wonderful than today? Hello Melinda, hello. Oh my goodness. Happy full moon blessings to you both. Oh goodness gracious. What an most excellent day today. Yes, I finally got to catch up with some friends of mine today. One of them, the husband, I haven't seen in probably a good 6 months, and the other one I see on the regular, but like monthly, but not in her own home. So that was really nice because it was her birthday this week. So yay, got to go and hang out with some friends, and that was a really good day today. So hi Christine, how are you, darling? So good to see you all. How did I get so golly gosh darn lucky? Yes, full moon. Isn't it fun? Full moon, and I'm sure we've probably got some solar flares and things happening. I know that there's a lot of awesomeness with the full moon. My beautiful soul sister Chanel put something up about it because it's a full moon in Aries, so she says. So that's your moon signs, and oh my goodness, I was just like, yup. Because for those of you who don't know, I am an Arian, and it yes, we can be very passionate and we can be very full on. We can 100% be in that space of here it is, I've just found it, the post show. So what she's saying, it's about to be a fiery one. Going by my trip to where I had to go today and back, yes. So this might resonate for you all as well. You might be already tuning into and feeling the collective tension of conflict that is brewing. You may even be noticing that extra sense of urgency, like you just got to say or do something, or maybe be somewhere. Aries energy is fast moving and can have the tendency to take action before thinking things through. No, not ever. Aries energy can tend to think more in terms of I rather than we and overlook the best interests of the whole, which is interesting. And I think I definitely have done that in the past. I'm way more conscious of it now, though, so it's not as prevalent in my life. Reactivity is high and so is volatility. This shows up first and foremost in our relationships with others. Expect there to be some interesting developments over the next few days. Practice patience and diplomacy. Keep in mind that just because you feel that you are right doesn't mean that you are. Check yourself before you wreck yourself. And she sent that out 2 days ago, and I'm like, I was all right leading up into yesterday. Today, however, the fiery side came out, and for the first time in a very, very long time, I got road rage. Can you even? But it was, just somebody that was loving to travel the back roads 10 to 15 kilometers slower than the speed limit. And 5Ks, I can work with that. I can have patience with that. But when they wouldn't pull over in the slow bays, and I got it there and back, and then when it hit 100K zone, when you could possibly have gone past safely, they were just like, they sped up to the 100Ks, and I'm like, oh my. Hi Lisa, hi. And so it's certainly been a very interesting day, and as when you dive into those spaces of developing your feminine side, you come to realize that all forms of emotion are actually okay. We are meant to feel all forms. And like I said, it's been a very long time since I've had that level of frustration and basically anger at another person. So it was quite an interesting experience for my body today to go through that and just realize there was nothing I could do with it other than just feel it, be in it, feel it. I didn't cause anybody harm. I didn't tailgate. I didn't do anything like that. I held back just enough. But safe to say, I was mighty frustrated and had to take a few deep breaths before I stepped into my friend's house. So yes, these energies have been very intense. And here in South Australia, we have had a couple of, not today, today's been nice and cool, but the previous 2 days, we were both sitting at around 30 degrees roughly and about 70 to 76 degree, 70 to 76% humidity. And leading into the full moon, I don't know about you all, but I can do a 40-degree dry day, no problem. But you give me humidity and I'm just like, and I had a couple of very, very long days on those days as well. And I was like basically 11 to 12-hour days from home to home. And yeah, very full on. Very, very full on. And it was, yeah, my body was certainly telling me last night when I got home. Hi, Catherine. So, yes, all fun and games. All fun and games. And I mean, this is what spring is all about for us. So, yes, if you're feeling the intense energies, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised. If you're feeling like over the last few days when you sort of sit and reflect, you go, oh, yeah, I have been a bit more fiery than usual. That'll be why. You're welcome. Thank the full moon for that one. Alrighty. So with that in mind, let me have a look at our weekly reading. And this deck of cards has not come out to play in a very long time with us. I don't even know that it's been out to play this year, to be honest. Certainly not this season. And it's the Practical Magic deck. And this deck is really interesting because if you actually have the whole thing, it gives you certain spells and things that you can do to work with the cards, which is pretty cool. Melinda says, yes, at work on Wednesday it was hot and humid and there I ended up having 2 showers for the day. The clean stuff that fridge. Yeah, I know. I was the same. I was absolutely the same. And yeah, I'm not a sweaty person. I don't sweat very easily. And I was sweating both days because there was no air con in any of the houses that I was working in. They didn't have the fans going. And the last house I was working in, so it was just sticky and stifling inside. And yeah, it was not fun. So yes, the Practical Magic. Oh, let me grab the box so that you guys can have a look at that. So here it is here. Okay. And it is by Serene Colony and the artwork is by Selena Finnick. And it actually comes with a massive book. So it comes with this massive book, right? And in here, obviously, it's got every card and oh, look, the first card that I opened the book to a random page and it's Be Kind. Do you think our angels and guides and spirit teams are already talking to us? I think so. So let's just read this little bit, just because it's here. Some people consider kindness a weakness, but they couldn't be more wrong. Kindness is a strength. It's a superpower, and you can make it contagious. Yes, I do agree with that too. So there's a lot with each card. So I'm not going to read it all, but there's the first part of it. And then it goes over to here, and then a little bit there, and then it's got the practical magic thing that you can do. And it goes through the tools for a spell for, like, in this case, for self-love and kindness. And then it tells you how to do that. And it carries on. Tells you about flower power. So let's have a look at the flower power thing. So essential oils can be diffused in a vaporizer, dabbed on your wrist or pulse points, or used to anoint candles. These are a few that will add some kindness and calm to your day. So bergamot is calming and uplifting, and it enhances kindness and self-worth, acceptance and self-love. Geranium is calming and uplifting. It increases self-esteem and self-worth, and very balancing. For those of you out there that love jasmine, for love for others and yourself, joy, spiritual self-care and relaxation. Lemon is uplifting, mood boosting, joyful, energizing, and it improves motivation and self-esteem. Rose, we do love a bit of rose. I actually washed myself with the rose essential oiled body wash this morning. The flower of love of all kinds, from passionate and romantic love to friendship and self-love. It's also good for relaxation and balance. Sandalwood. Oh, I love sandalwood. Calming and centering. It lifts your mood and enhances feelings of self-love and self-esteem. And sweet orange is uplifting, mood boosting, and it opens the heart to accepting love and increasing self-love. So there we go. Oh, lots of lovely things in there. So it goes on to, it has so much in there. It is, giving you lots of hints and tips on how to basically practice self-love and to be kind. And it even goes into being kind with how you talk about your truth. And like, this is an incredible book. I'm surprised I haven't read more of it, to be fair, but obviously I needed to bring this to your guys' attention so that I can bring it to my own attention. But the cards themselves are pretty amazing. So without further ado, let's get into the card work so that we can do our weekly reading. Now, this weekly reading is actually going to be for the next fortnight. All right. And this is because next Friday, I'm going to be in New Zealand and I won't be doing the show. Sorry. Terribly sorry about that, my beautiful ones. But that's why Friday next week will not be happening, because I will not be here. I'll be off having dinner with my half-sister and her fiance and any other guests that can float around through their reception dinner. So that's where I will be at this time next Friday. Probably actually roughly this time I should be heading home, to the place that I'll be staying. So this reading is for the 19th of October through to the 31st of October. So this fortnight. And so just about, we're in the shadow period of the new moon. All right. And so there's going to be, I'm getting a lot of energy coming off this one. So let's see how we can best work with these energies for the collective, right? For the next 2 weeks. There's a lot going on in the world. There's a lot going on for us personally. There's a lot going on for us as a collective. So this is going to be an interesting reading. We're moving energy already. Yay! I love it. So, yes. It's going to be interesting going and seeing and hanging out with the family. I haven't hung out with really anybody on that side for a long, long time, many years. So it'll be a bit of a family reunion for me. Oh dear. Interesting times. How many of them are woo-woo? That's a jolly good question. If I stick to my normal conversation, for normies, I'll be okay, I think. If I start talking about the fifth dimension and all of that, it's going to be a very different conversation. I think I might get some blank stares. Then again, who knows? Who knows? All right, so this is hitting the heart. Oh, we're going to have a really interesting next fortnight, I think. So the first card that we've got is Enchant the Everyday with Autumn Magic. Now, obviously, we don't have autumn here right now. We have, like in the Southern Hemisphere, for you in the Northern Hemisphere, yes, you have autumn magic. What I'm getting from this particular card, though, is it's about seeing all the different energies that are floating around you right now and being aware of them. So whenever we're going through the big changes, and I see autumn and spring as actually times of big change, and that's why we get a lot of like funky energies happening at this time of the year, is because for your spring people, like what we are in the Southern Hemisphere, we've got a lot of forward moving, bursting through, like growth, birth. Think of the spring lambs going boinga, boinga, boinga around. That's a lot of bouncy kind of full energy. But when you think of a seed and it's having to force its way up through the earth because it's spring, right, that requires a hell of a lot of energy. And when we are not working with the energy and we're resisting it, that can tire us out a lot. And on the opposite side, with the autumn side, which is what this card is talking about, there's a lot of death energy in there. There's a lot of that winding down kind of energy. It's a lot of that trying to put the brakes on after such a busy, like full on spring and then summer and all of that sort of stuff. So it's like trying to slow down a really fast car. And with that comes a lot of heat and a lot of energy and a lot of and in this case, like the heat, which is required basically to dry out the leaves, because it's the water moving out of the leaf structure, so that it's what is the word I'm trying to find there? It's pulling back. It's shoring you up. It's kind of like for you guys who have been over in Florida area with all the hurricanes and all, like autumn is very much the same thing, where it's like you're putting up, blocking up your windows and your doors and things like that so they don't get blown in. That's pulling your energy in. So that's what I see with this card. It's saying, just be aware of the magic that's all around you every single day. And become more aware of as it's moving bigger or coming down, and see how you feel. It's like when we become aware of how the moons affect us or not. And even if they don't affect you, if you can then become aware of maybe some of your close friends or family or workmates, how does it affect them? Do you notice? Do they sort of around the same time of the month, leading into a full moon or on a full moon or on a new moon, do you notice that they are all sort of saying similar things or the same things? And that's the fun thing about being more aware of energy. And then you can start to do some things that will help you to not only manage your own energy levels better, but to work with the seasons rather than fighting against them. Our entire society and the way that we live has been built on fighting against the natural ebbs and flows of the seasons, of the months, and of the weeks. And because of that, we have to relearn those skills. And this is a really simple way of being able to become aware and start working in a gentle way with the seasons rather than fighting them. Okay, so this next card, which says seek balance, and it is about overwhelm. Okay, so as we look at this card, you can see that the bottom half of the character is like black, and it's like all smooshy, and it's like, how do you create balance, which I get is this disc on the bottom. How do you create balance when you feel like your bottom half is liquid and you're trying to balance all of these, in this case, fireballs, or all the different aspects of your life? How are you supposed to do that? And I think the clue is in the middle there. It's your core. It's keeping your core in check. It's keeping your chakra systems in check. It's keeping yourself knowing exactly where you sit and how, like, keeping your back strong, having your own back. So not allowing your thoughts, your words, your belief systems to throw you off yourself, by saying it's everybody else's fault, or this is because somebody else did blah, blah, blah to me, or whatever. Like, I can think of a situation that happened this week, and this client was, repeating themselves over and over again about how, they're doing the bad thing, but a whole bunch of other people are doing the bad thing. So why do they get picked on? And it's like, I just came back to what my dad used to say when I was little of, if your brother was going to go and jump off the Auckland Harbour Bridge, would you? And I'd say, no. It's like, why the fuck would I jump off the Harbour Bridge? Because back in those days, we didn't have like bungee jumping or anything like that. And I'd say no. And he goes, well, stop using your brother as an excuse for poor choices. So don't let your poor choices derail you from your balance. Okay? So that's what I'm hearing there. Like, make considered and wise choices over this next 2 weeks. Being aware of the energies around, like the fact that we know that currently we've got the full moon in Aries. So we've got a lot of fiery energies. We've got a lot of, that sort of forward moving energy, but at the same time it's like patience is a virtue. Think about this character here. They would have had a lot of patience to learn how to juggle all of those spheres. And that's the same for you too. All of the different aspects of your life, you have to have a lot of patience to be able to learn how to do all of that with ease and to make it look effortless. So don't beat yourself up if you're still practicing, okay? The next card that we've got is forgiveness, which is asking for forgiveness. And what I'm seeing with this one, and interesting, it actually has a full moon sitting in behind it. So perhaps this full moon, we have to ask for forgiveness. And it's forgiveness for our own selves. It's not about necessarily forgiveness from other people. It's forgiveness of self. So we come back to the Ho'oponopono techniques there of, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And that is said to yourself. It's not actually to the other person. So perhaps we have to do a little bit more around forgiveness of self. So what's coming up for you lately? What are you being triggered by? And over this next 2 weeks, become very keenly aware of what you're triggered by. How does that relate back to you? So if somebody else has said or done something and it's made you get really cranky, give you a perfect example with me and my road rage this morning. The reason why I was cranky and triggered is because I was really looking forward to driving my personal car up the windy, windy roads and having some fun with my car. And I couldn't do it because I was being held back by that other driver. And that's what made me angry. It's like I've spent all week being so mindful of my driving and how I drive, because I drive a work car during the week. So I have to be super duper mindful of making sure that I don't do anything silly. And I'm not saying that my driving on the windy, windy roads was going to be silly, but it's just my car is so fun to drive. And it's not fully loaded and all of that sort of thing. So I was really looking forward to being able to just go meow, meow, meow around the corners, not breaking speed limits or anything dumb like that, but just having some fun. And I couldn't. And that's why I got angry. That's why I got triggered. It's like, you took away my fun. How dare you? Bah! So, forgiveness. Forgiveness more so of self. Okay? Watch out for those triggers and see what is behind that. What is it about you that is actually being triggered there? That's nothing to do with the other person. The other person didn't give a crap. They were just tooting along. They were just having a great Friday drive. Okay. So this next card that we've got for this next fortnight for the collective is emotional strength and the eye of the storm. So if we've got a hell of a lot of fiery energy at the moment, I get the sense that the new moon at the other end of the fortnight is going to be stirring up some shit too. So enjoy the center of the storm, where it's going to have a moment of coolness. It's going to have a moment of like breath of fresh air. It's going to be kind of like, okay, we're good. And you might find that all the emotions and everything just sort of settle down for a few days right in the middle. But so that would be around next Friday, next weekend. But be aware it's going to ramp back up again towards the end of the week. All right. So with that in mind, when and if you can, we got Rockabye, which is rest and restore. Okay, so as you can, when you start feeling things ramping up and all that sort of stuff, allow yourself the time to rest if you can. If you suddenly feel like, gosh, I need to go to bed really early, it's ridiculous, it's 7:30 at night, please do it. All right. Don't force yourself to stay awake just because you normally stay up till 10 or 10:30. I'm talking to myself here. Allow yourself the time to rest should you require it. Okay. Because when we have these big highs and lows, and we've still got a lot of solar flares happening at the moment too, that we are definitely seeing down here in the southern hemisphere. Seen some absolutely incredible pictures coming out of the auroras, and up in the northern hemisphere you guys are getting them too. Those sorts of things are very draining on the energy as well. So don't be surprised if you feel like, you know what, I'm yawning and I need to yawn. Thank you. And I just feel like I want to go to sleep. Allow yourself to. If it's safe for you to do so and you're at home, maybe don't crawl under your desk if you have an office job and have a little 40 wings under there. That might not be a good idea. Oh dear. I may have done that in my younger days when I had an office job. Can't really do that now. Sitting in somebody's bathroom cleaning their shower, next thing you know, that would be hilarious. Not a good look, but it would be hilarious. So we've got a lot of things coming up this week, this next fortnight, haven't we? It's just some awareness around the energies that are around you, making sure you're catching that balance, the forgiveness, so watching out for those triggers and doing some deep diving into yourself and just being more aware of self. And with that will come the emotional strength, resting and restoring, and acknowledge. And I just got the words acknowledge just how freaking awesome you are, that you are working with all of these energies so beautifully. And sure, there'll be times where we get a bit wobbly and all of that sort of stuff. It's okay. It's totally okay. We are all still remembering what it means to be living in a 3D world. I know, 5D world. We know how to work in the 3D world, but we're remembering how to live in a 5D world. So acknowledge how far that you've come, acknowledge the brilliance that you be, and everything will be amazing. So that is super cool. What a great reading. I like it. Woo! Not that one just yet. Sorry. All right. So we'll see if anybody else ends up using those cards, but I would like to take a photo of those ones. Okay. Oh no, I just want to yawn. Oh, that's good. Oh dear. So yes, it's going to be an interesting fortnight, is what we can say from that one. Safely say. You know, it's going to be an interesting one. Alrighty. So, Miss Christine, how are you doing specifically? Thank you for your very, very kind donation. I see that that's come through. What is claustrophobic? Oh, claustrophobic. Oh dear, still in cleanup hurricane. Oh, really, really. Which hurricane got you? I'm curious. Just so curious. Because Alex has been watching a couple of YouTubers that were sort of in the Florida area. So they got hit with yeah, when you see what she's written, Lisa, you'll understand why I was like, what? And then I realized claustrophobic is what the message was. So yeah, over in Florida, the hurricane Milton, thank you. Yeah, there's been a fair amount of damage for some of those people that are over there. A lot of trees down and things like that. So there's been a lot of cleanup happening over there. So I'm so grateful that I don't have to deal with hurricanes or anything like that, tornadoes or hurricanes. We just got to deal with bushfires from time to time. Touch wood that I've got some real wood here. Touch wood that we don't have to deal with any for a long time again. But yes, every now and then we get bushfires, and they can be just as devastating as hurricanes and things. You know, there's a lot of people from the last bushfires that happened here, not necessarily here in South Australia, but more towards Victoria way. Some of them still are not in homes yet. And this is going back, gosh, probably about 5 years ago. So can you imagine? They're completely homeless, and some of them are still living in tents and things like that because they have nowhere to go. It's tents and caravans. Terrible. But it is what it is. All right. So let's have a look. So now you understand, Lisa, why I said I had to sort of interpret. Yeah. Don't worry, Christine. There's lots of things that I say because I'm a Kiwi and I'm living in Australia, that there's lots of things that I say that the Aussies are like, they crack up about. So there's the good old gem of like the thong versus the jandal. So in New Zealand, the thong is a piece of underwear, and a jandal is what you wear on your feet. And so when you come over here and you get all the Australians saying, oh, I've got to go get my thongs on, yeah, we go, what? You wear underwear on your feet? That's an interesting thing to do. How does that go for protection against the heat and things like that? We know exactly what they're talking about, but we like to rib them anyway. They can't rib us about jandals because jandals are jandals. They just are. Of course, I think you guys call them maybe flip-flops or something like that over in America. What's some of the other things? I have had to learn to say when I want a vivid. So this is for my Kiwi peeps. When I want a vivid, you guys know what I'm talking about. Over here, they say permanent marker. So if I don't say permanent marker, they won't know what I'm talking about. In New Zealand, we would say a felt tip. And over here, they call it a texter. They can also call permanent markers permanent texters, just to really be awesome. So that one was another one. The good old gem in New Zealand, we call it a chili bin. And in Aussie, we call it a esky or a cooler. But generally they call it an esky. And I'm like, it's a chili bin. What are you talking about? It keeps things chilled. It's a bin that keeps things chilled. Why wouldn't you call it a chili bin? So yeah, there's a few of them. I'll see if I can think of any more as we carry on in the show. But that's some of the main ones. Yes, mess with people's minds here with permanent marker. Your words there, I need to say it here. Yep. Call it a vivid. Can I get a vivid? And they'll be like, you want a what? And it's because vivid is a vivid is a brand name of a permanent marker. So we use the brand name as a regular name. So in the South Island of New Zealand, if you want to talk about vacuuming, you talk about hoovering, which is a very English thing, but that's not surprising because the South Island was colonized a lot by sort of the English people. English, Scottish, Irish, well, not so much the Irish, but the English and the Scottish definitely. So they call it hoovering down there. But in the North Island, we just call it vacuuming. You're going to go vacuum your house. Just trying to think what else is there. No, I can't think of anything right now, but it's funny. Oh, don't get car people onto the whole Subaru thing. So yes. So in oh God, I can't even think. I think so Subaru is the Australian way to say it, and a Subaru is the Kiwi way of saying it, I think. See, I've gotten myself so confused I can't remember anymore. So it's like a Subaru or a Subaru. It just depends on where you put the inflection. All right. Cool. Whee. Oh, we're talking about Toyota cars. Awesome. Yes. Oh, no. Thank you. So the Toyota 4Runner, is that better than the Buick? So is the Toyota 4Runner going to create more? Let me show you what I can see. Much shorter train if I do that there. So I can do it from there. Yes and no. Always amazes me how this works. So truth. Is the Toyota 4Runner going to create more than the Buick for Christine? Yeah. I feel awkward. Okay, so truth. Will the Toyota 4Runner create more than the Buick for Christine? Okay, that's a bit of a gentle yes. Truth. Is the Buick going to create more than the Toyota 4Runner for Christine? So just asking it the opposite way, and it says no, as you can see. That's a no. So that's the first thing. It's between the Buick Encore. So the Buick is claustrophobic in the back seat. That's a really important thing to know. That's really important. Hi, Nicole. So yeah, at this stage, this pendulum says to go for the Toyota. Let me just check from the adventuring perspective. See if that has any other thoughts. So show me a yes. Thank you. Show me the no. Thank you. I like this because you guys can see what I'm seeing. So, truth. Will the Toyota create more for Christine than the Buick? It's a gentle yes. It's not like a big, fat, loud yes. So, truth. Will the Buick create more than the Toyota for Christine? Yeah, see, that's a definite no. That's a big no. So it's interesting how you can have little answers or big answers, right? So this is definitely saying that the Buick is not going to create more for you, and it's certainly not going to create more than the Toyota, all right? So you've got or Buick larger SUV from Encore. So no on the Buick. Definitely no on the Buick. That was from two pendulums. They're both like, nah, stay away from the Buick, man. Oh, dear. What brand is an Encore? I'm not a supercar person. Alex would probably know, but I'm not familiar. Oh. Encore is the Buick. Oh, okay. Cool. So there's that. Oh, you're looking at a Subaru Outback. Or a Subaru. I'm pretty sure we say it's Subaru. Pretty sure. Can my Kiwi friends confirm or deny? Do we say Subaru or do we say Subaru? I'm pretty sure it's Subaru here in like Subaru in Oz in Kiwi. Oh shit. It's such a little Subaru. I think we say it Subaru in New Zealand. So Subaru, as in, I think. And I think the Aussies say Subaru because it's like they think it's an AROO, with it being, yeah. At the end of the day, we just say it Subi. In New Zealand, we don't even bother. We just actually call it a Subi. All right. So let me jump back to the Subaru Outback. So truth. Will the Subaru Outback create more for Christine? Oh, sorry. I'm out of line of sight. So truth. Will the Subaru Outback create more for Christine? Truth. Will the Subaru Outback create more for Christine than the Toyota 4Runner? Interesting. That's a no. Truth. Will the Toyota 4Runner create more for Christine than the Subaru Outback? That's a bigger yes. Much bigger yes. Cool. So there we go. So you've got the Subaru is still good. I would say it would probably be your second choice. So if you don't go for the Toyota, then the Subaru is going to be good for you, for your situation. It's not a no. It's like Subaru is still going to be good, but it's the Toyota is going to be better than the Subaru for you. But it's still a big fat no to the Buick. All right. Now you had one other question way up, I think, that I'm happy to answer. Maybe not. Okay. Let me have a look at the other one for that. I always come back for this one, Christine. I'm going to come back to what we said a little while ago. Ask your body. She knows. Okay? She knows why you're tired. Okay, but we will ask the pendulum anyway. So, show me the yes. Show me the no. Thank you. Okay, so truth is the reason Christine is exhausted her hormones. I'm getting, it's actually going around in circles. You might not be able to see that, but it's actually going around in circles. So it's like sort of. it's sort of a yes, it's sort of a no. So as I've said, sort of, it's gone frontwards and backwards. That's confirmation, right? So what truth is, she's exhausted because she requires more protein in her diet. That's a yes. This pendulum is very heavy, so it takes a bit more effort for the team to move things. But yeah, that's a yes. So you do definitely require more protein. Okay. Pause it. Cool. So truth, does Christine require less sugar in her diet? That's a yes. Okay, more protein, less sugar. Okay, Christine. Final question. Okay. So when it comes to handling elderly parents, and I think you'll find a few of the other beautiful people in the Find You Fridays community can chime in on this one. You're absolutely correct. You cannot go Roadrunner. You have to be very, very, very patient, and you have to basically put your own agenda to the side, except for things that are absolutely vitally important. You just got to roll with it. You just got to allow them to be who they be. And that can mean just taking a lot of deep breaths and having a lot of moments where you are just rolling with their continual health changes. My dad's health, I'm going more aggressive as to seeing his health care, medical doctors as to getting his health in check. The reality is that he's not getting any younger. And with that comes the reality that there's going to be aspects of his health that are not as good anymore. You can make them comfortable. You can keep their spirits up and hope that they're just going to keep rocking along. My grandmother is a bit of an anomaly. She's like 88 years old, and she's my only living grandparent now at that age, and she's still super active, but she made very strong choices when she was in her late 50s to do certain things that are going to keep her mind active, including continuing to work until she was 81. That was part of her continued health choices, was to keep working. And she was working in a physical job. So, and then she still has the farm to run. She's still like their little farm, I guess they call it a lifestyle farm compared to what we have here in Australia and in America. But it's still, she's got animals to look after. She goes horse riding. She's, very, very active. Now, your dad, I can imagine, is probably not like that. And when it comes to healthcare, yes, you have to be very proactive about getting the supports in place, but you also have to be realistic and go, okay, but where is he at right now? In honest truth, where is he at? What does he actually require? He's, like I said, he's not getting any younger. His condition is probably not going to get any better. It's probably going to decrease, if anything, unfortunately. And as such, you've got to be a lot more proactive on getting those supports in place, whether it be carers or people giving him community access or taking him to doctor's appointments and things like that. From what I'm aware, and I'm only vaguely aware of what is in the States, your guys' healthcare system is not fantastic. We have a lot more access to all of those sorts of supports here in Australia, and we're very lucky, and New Zealand too. And we are very, very fortunate to have all of these sorts of supports available. Yes, you have to fight for them sometimes, but they're there. They are available. And once you sort of get into it, it's all good. But, oh, yeah, my grandmother, she goes on 5-day horse treks. She goes basically out camping on a horse for 5 days. She's amazing. And she's my mum's mum. So I'm like going, oh, God, I've got about 35 years of working life left if I'm going to follow in her footsteps. So I've got a long way to go yet. But then there's other people who have different points of views around age, and they kind of go, by the time I'm 80, I reckon I'll be ready to be done. And it's interesting, different people's points of views. So yes, be proactive in getting the care for him, because otherwise, as he ages and gets worse, the demands on you are going to increase, and then that's going to make your life hell. So if you can start putting some things in place now and get moving forward, then things will be a lot easier for you in the future. Yes, he might be resistant to it right now because he's probably still feeling great. He's probably still feeling like he can run a multi-million-dollar company and be an incredible parent and do all the things. But there will come a time when he can't. And that's what you've got to forward plan for. And that's why women are really good at forward planning for that sort of thing. Men, not so much. So I say, good on you. Well done. Caring for a parent is a hard thing. It's a very hard thing. And I don't envy anybody who has to do it. I know of a few people who have had to, and in their last days and all that sort of stuff. It's not fun. It's not fun at all. So in saying that, enjoy the time that you do have with him. Make it as enjoyable as you possibly can, and not be like so different in Western society here in USA. Yeah, I feel for you guys. I really do. And I hope that moving forward into the 2025, your healthcare system gets better, and with whoever ends up in the top job, because you guys, and there's a lot about the American system that is a bit broken. So I hope it does get better. So thank you, Christine. I do appreciate all of your donations very, very much. You are incredible support to the Find You Fridays and the running of Find You Fridays. I very much appreciate it. Without your kind donation, the show couldn't keep running like it does. So I appreciate it very much. And I hope that you have yourself a really, really good couple of weeks. I know it's going to be sad. I'm not going to be here next week, but that's okay. That's okay. You guys will be fine. Hi, Tony. Hi. And if I saw the little message that popped up just then, I would say, you beautiful woman, you put through donations. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. So with any luck, maybe Thursday, okay? But we will talk more. I'll send you some messages later. Tomorrow when we're not asleep. That would be a good idea. So if you could pop through your question, please, that would be wonderful. Oh, thank you. Hi. Yes. So, Tony, if you could pop your question through, that would be incredible. Up in the chat so I can see it. No, thanks. Why? Yay. It's nice. It's nice here. It's very chilled and relaxed, and just I enjoy connecting with you all. And I feel like there's so many people here in the Find You Fridays crew, that because there's the people that are sitting on Facebook as well as the people that are sitting on YouTube, and neither group can really see each other, which is kind of funny for me. But yeah, you guys are starting to feel a bit like family after 3 years. And it's just such a beautiful community, and I really like the fact that you guys come here and you spend some time, your valuable, precious time with me, and we get to chat and do readings and stuff like that. That's okay. Well, you might find that some of the stuff that comes through with other people's readings is relevant to you too. That quite often happens. I know when I've watched shows like this in the past, that's been really super relevant to me, especially when we're talking about things like progression of the collective consciousness and stuff like that. It's like, oh, yeah, that. So because you've come in a little bit later than the others, just a reminder about the energies coming up over this next fortnight is there's going to be a bit of stuff that might come up to trigger you, and it's a moment there to come back to having those moments of reflection of, if this is triggering me or activating me, and you can go, oh, okay, somebody else has done or said or whatever, something, you can go, well, hang on a minute, I'm the one being activated and triggered right now. What is it about me? What is it about my journey and my story that is being activated right now? And look at that, and look at doing some healing around that. Do some forgiveness. That was something that came up in the weekly reading. Look at the forgiveness of yourself. Perhaps you've made poor choices in the past that have led you to the situation that you're in. And I'm not talking about being unemployed. I'm just talking about in general, over this next couple of weeks, there might be some stuff that'll come up that'll trigger you and or activate you to really do some deep self-reflection and healing. And one of the processes that I love when it comes to forgiveness is the Ho'oponopono, which is the 4 phrases that they use, which is I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, and I love you. And you can use those 4 phrases in any order that you like. That doesn't have to be in that exact same order. It can also be, you can use just one of the phrases, but it's all talking to yourself. So imagine talking, like if you've discovered, for example, that a reason why something has activated you. So I can give you a really good example. When I was living in my last house and the owner had decided to sell it, and because he decided to sell it, I was having to manage the like having my house really clean and tidy, which was very difficult because I had a guy living with me at the time and he was real messy, so it caused a lot of stress. And I was getting angrier and angrier, and one day I just stopped and I went, why am I so angry right now? Like, I've done this process, I know what this is about. It's like, it's not that big a deal. And because I was ranting basically internally around people coming into the house, and what about my staff, and I should be allowed to be here, and because the real estate agent was like, it'd be better if you weren't here, that sort of thing. So I would park up outside, sit in my car outside the house and watch the people coming in, making sure that they didn't have anything with them. And this one day I went, why am I angry? And what it turned out to be was I felt it was actually activating my inner child, and my inner child was so upset about having to change again, like change our living situation again. It was out of my control. So she was feeling like, this is once again, this is out of my control. I can't do anything about it. And it makes me really upset and angry because I don't feel safe and secure anymore. So, and that didn't take long to dig down and find that. It was like, okay, inner child, are you there? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, so what is it? Why are you angry? And that's when she told me, and I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. And that goes back to when I was a kid, when I was 6.5, and my parents all of a sudden split up. And we moved. We got split as a family we were living in Auckland, and then my mum and my brother and we got moved to Kākahi, which is a teeny tiny little village in the middle of nowhere. So we've moved from a big city to a very country village. I'm 4.5 hours away from my dad, and to us kids, we hadn't done anything wrong. We didn't know why mum and dad were no longer living together. We hadn't even really heard them fighting or anything. So we didn't understand what was going on. All we knew was that suddenly our home base was not safe. It wasn't secure. And before that, I had already, like by the time we moved, that was my 4th primary school. So I started school at 4.5, and in between 4.5 and 6.5, I'd been in 4 different primary schools. So again, it was like, you know. So this whole having to move house, and it wasn't my choice to move, that activated my inner child. So I had to do some work around that. So isn't it interesting? So be aware. Be aware. So Tony, so you've been having horrible moments with a registered nurse. She said, nurse said this, that she was right by Frida and the other nurse, and that the nurse said, I want painkillers for her pain. And Frida said it's only painkillers, she can wait for that. And Trace said to her, no, she can't. That's for pain. You can't do that to anyone when they are in pain. And I've been having lots of not so nice moments with that nurse. She's turned off my oxygen off quite a few times, and she doesn't know how to use them properly. I've already complained, and I don't want her near me. I only still see her, but someone else has to give me the medication. She is dangerous, and she makes me suffer. Huge question, sorry. Okay. So let me just pop that up there so that people can see that I'm actually doing a reading. So thank you for the backstory. Let me see. All right, team. Can you tell me what Tony requires to know about the staff at the rest home? There's some interesting energies popping up there, Tony. It's like knife in the back type energies. which makes me wonder if truth, this is actually a karmic thing being worked out from another lifetime. With Frida, or what's the other one's name? Traced. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. So with these staff members, what I'm sensing at the moment is that there is some karmic shit that you guys are working through. So truth is this moment in time with Tony and the staff at this. I wish you guys could see this. Oh, it's too hard. So truth is this karmic related with Tony and the staff. And I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but it's a really big yes on that one. So let's see, what else does the team, what does your team say with your cards? Interesting. Now I shuffled these cards for quite a while, and with these cards, these are the practical magic ones again. Okay, so yes. I don't even need the book for this. This is cool. I like it. So the first card that's come out is to transform your life with transformations. Okay, so this is what I'm seeing about the karmic stuff. This is a moment for you, being the more aware one, the more conscious one, to make really super conscious choices about this interaction with these staff members. And this is your moment to shift the energy between you. Now, how do you do? And I can feel it. It's like your throat is just going, it's like, fuck, why does it have to be me? I'm already here. I'm sick. I'm not doing well. It's like, why the fuck does it have to be me? And it's like, I can feel it. It's all up in here. So this is all throat chakra stuff, right, hun? This is your moment to be allowing yourself to open up. Bring your heart up to transform your throat. Now, what I'm hearing here is, because I was asking about the truth of it being a past life interaction, and it's like, yeah, your throat was cut. That's part of this energy. It's the throat cut energy. So truth, did you cut hers? Did she cut yours? Yep. Okay, so you're super angry from that lifetime. That's what I'm getting with this. It's like she cut your throat last time, or the beings that you were. I haven't asked if you're a male or female, but just know that they cut your throat last time. And so you're fucking pissed off, right? And that's why in this moment, you've got a lot of bouncing energy between you, because it's like you're not willing to let go of that anger. So if you are willing to transform that anger into forgiveness and do that deep healing on yourself of that past lifetime, things will start shifting, because now she'll have nothing to fight against. She won't be bouncing off of your anger. All right. Now, that next card is really interesting, because it says face your fear, passion, and power. Okay. So what are you afraid of if you let go of the anger? What will it mean to you? If you were to have her in your mind and do the Ho'oponopono, doing the whatever it is in you, no, whatever it is in me, sorry, that has activated that in you, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. And oh, oh that's moving some shit. All right. Your potency and power is so incredible. You have a lot of energy that is locked up in your body, and it is waiting for you to start acknowledging it properly. All right? You have the power to change this karmic, to rebalance this karmic interaction between you and within anybody else in that staff that has come through to have this moment with you. So whatever it is in me that has activated that in you, I am sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. Okay? Because here's the reality of it. More than likely, with that last interaction where they cut your throat, you weren't innocent either. I don't get a sense that you were. And because of that, that's what pushed them in that time to do what they did. There was a lot of passion. So it's like, takes two to tango, right? There's a lot of fresh air coming through there. That's awesome. We're shifting the energy. Once you start looking at that and doing a little bit of soul searching, be brutally honest with yourself. And it might be pretty harsh. Like, I'll tell you guys the story with me and the dog afterwards. But when you can get to a place of peacefulness with yourself about your past life's interactions with them, things will start shifting magically for you. Okay? So just be aware of that too. The next card that we've got for you, Tony, is Rest and Restore. Okay? And this is about putting it to peace, putting it to bed. It's time. It's time for you to put all of that anger, the resentment, all the backwards and the forwards and all the shit from the past, put it to bed. It's time. You guys have done this for enough lifetimes now, and it's time to move it on so that you can, with total freedom, move into the 5D world, and you'll be free of her and you'll be free of them, and like you will have shifted that karmic balance so that you can actually not have to repeat this shit again. Like, that would be amazing. And what if she doesn't miss the medication? What if there's in that moment of you doing your magic and working through this energy, she suddenly finds that place in her of compassion and unconditional love and stuff like that. Yeah. It's pretty amazing. You can do all sorts of things when you start releasing that stuff. So let me think. When I had a QHHT healing session, I became aware that my mother was gripping onto me, like, and I mean gripping, like into my arm, like imagine that, but the other way around, so coming this way. And it was like her nails and everything was sinking right into my arm. I'm like both hands go like that. And this is because there was a belief system that she had that I had to look after her in her old age. And this is a belief system that she's had many times over. So it wasn't just this lifetime, because it was like, I think it was like 2 sets of hands throughout my arm. So it was like, this was something that had been holding there for a long time. And for me in this lifetime, I have felt this uncontrollable urge to look after my mother, whether she needed it or not. It was just like I had to. And it was this thing of like, you can cognitize it and call it people pleasing and all of that, a trauma response, you can call it all those sorts of things. But then I became aware that this is not just a this lifetime thing. And it was for us, it was that karmic rebalancing. So in the QHHT session, once we identified that that's what was happening with that, I started healing that and removing each finger one by one. And as I did it, it was like my mother was screaming at me like a fucking banshee. It was just intense, and it was hot, and it was burning my arm, and it was like, oh my God. And we just kept coming back to that place of gentleness, of forgiveness. I was in basically theta healing state. So I was peaceful, but it was like, this is necessary. This has to be done. You must be free of me now. It's okay for you to be and do life for yourself. You don't have to hold on to me anymore. Oh, hi, Brooke. So in releasing that, what it did was it released my heart from feeling compelled. And it was like that. It was like a real full-on compulsion. And every time I sort of pushed back from that, I felt guilty. And after that session, I was just like, I feel so light and so peaceful. Now, I'm not saying that you have to do that particular session. But it's like, you've already identified that this interaction with her is not normal. Okay? Yeah, I was thinking about you just the other day, Brooke. So the next card that we've got here for you, Tony, is the emotional strength card, the Eye of the Storm. All right. So this is where you have to be the strong one. You have to be the one that is going to do what needs to be done. All right. So in this case, it's that rebalancing of the karma. And that's just what you're going to have to do. Otherwise, you're going to get caught and you're going to get whirled away by all the stuff. And then shit's going to keep going wrong. And you guys are going to keep bouncing off of each other. And there's going to be resentment built up on both sides. And then next thing you know, the next lifetime happens and you're repeating it all over again. Time to take some action. This card's cool. So if you do that, this is the next cool thing, is rewild your life, which is the Wolf Princess. You're going to have so much freedom. You're going to be able to howl at the moon. And it is going to feel amazing. You're going to feel reborn, and it's going to be so freeing. So freeing. And yes. And it's just going to be like, you'll be able to relax. Okay. And know that they're going to take good care of you. And it's going to be just so much better. Okay. Because the other thing is like, when you even just one of them who are doing this karmic shit, it's not to punish you. It's there to bring it to your attention so that you can rebalance yourself. Okay? Because that's all that's necessary. It's not about healing them. This is about you. So if you want to give yourself the freedom to live out the rest of your days, however that's going to look, with the ease that you require, then you have to do some of this energy work. You have to do, like, just stop thinking 3D. Stop thinking 3D, because that stuff around, you know, like, oh, she did this, she did that, blame, blame, blame. That's 3D thinking. That's not going to help you. Okay. Let me have a look at your yummy card. Respect is your yummy card. Lovely. Respect. Respect for you. Respect for your healing journey. And respect for the other person too. Because when you get through that Ho'oponopono side of things, and you can come out the other side and you go, oh my God, thank you. Thank you for coming into my life and bringing this moment to my attention so that we could heal it and rebalance that karma. And wow, we've now got the freedom to move forward as individuals that are no longer hooked and tied to each other. Like, that's fucking amazing. Thank you. And like, all of that will go on in your head. You don't need to say that to them because they won't understand anyway, I don't think. But it's like, you can just be that wise lady who sits there with her oxygen and her medication and just go, yeah, thank you. That's when you know true peace has arrived. Okay. So thank you, honey, for your very kind donation. I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week. And yeah, you're like, there's very few people that I'm going to be able to see while I'm over there. And I'm really looking forward to being able to catch you for just a cup of tea and a quick chat, and then I can keep moving on with my day. But yes, I'm very, very much looking forward to seeing you. So it's not about being right. I would like you to feel my words for the truth for you. If what I've said feels true for you, cool. Awesome. Work with that. And just remember that good old phrase, whatever it is in you, whatever it is in me that has activated that in you, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. Aw, Brooke, you sweetheart. You sweetheart. All right, Christine. So thank you. Thank you again, Tony. Mwah. Your very kind donation helps to keep the show running. Yay! We love it. Oh gosh, this many. I can send you a measurement. Okay. And that would be an honor to receive a bracelet from you. It truly, truly would. Yeah, wow. Thank you. Received in advance. Alrighty. So, Miss Christine, you had another question. I do love all of your questions, but before I do that, I just wish to come back to that comment from Melinda. It's interesting. My mum said the words to me that she expected me to look after her as she did for her mother. I walked out on her as I was having a mental breakdown from all the pressure from her. She passed a few years back now, so all is good. Yeah, exactly. We used to joke about, like, my mother and I used to joke about the fact that we were so close in age. There's only 19 years between us, that we'd both end up in the old people home together. And she'd be the one that couldn't see, and I'd be the one that couldn't hear. And so between the two of us would be fine. Like, this is the shit we used to talk about. Like, how much were we trying to manifest that into our lives? Like, that's just nuts. Absolutely nuts. So I've spent a long time reversing that. But yeah, my mum, when I first looked at going to university and becoming an architect and things like that, as you all know, I'm not doing that now. My mum said straight up, yeah, that's a fantastic profession to get into. Then you can support me in my old age. And I'm just like, what? And it actually triggered something in my brain way, way, way back then, where I must have been 15, 16 at the time when she said it. And it triggered something in my brain and this is something I have worked on since, around finances, to never ever earn enough to be able to support her. Interesting, right? And once I figured that out, I was like, oh my gosh. So it's like, how can I ever earn like a lot of money? Because if I have a lot of money, that's like in my brain, well, then I'm going to have to look after my mother. And what has she done for me? Like, I've spent so much of my life looking after her, energetically, emotionally, physically. Why should I have to? You know? It's not my destiny, man. She's got boys for that who have wives and they still live there. So yeah, it's been an interesting unraveling with all of that. So yes. Brooke, what's your lucky number? Awkward. Oh dear. We manifest, want to get on top of that. Yes, absolutely. Hi Edwina. Hi Erin. Yes, absolutely. We have to be so mindful, and especially now, of the words that we're using and what we're saying, and the points of views and the belief systems we're continuing to perpetuate. It's like we have to be just so careful. And like, I was working on a house this week with someone, one of my other team members, and you know, the lady of the house kept saying, oh, it's not going to be good enough. It's not. And I every time they said it, I said, why are you putting that out there? Stop it. Everything's going to be fine. Just, you know, have a more positive mindset. Oh, but they're going to say blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, just stop. Stop perpetuating that. You've got to have more positive outlook. And this lady's got a lot of health issues and stuff like that too. And it's like, just no. I come and I clean your house and I clean your mind too. Erin said, my mother put that on me when I didn't give her enough money. She took an exit strategy and her body failed. Well done. Good work, Erin. My mother's too stubborn to take that strategy at this point, and she's too young. So she's not going to choose that for a while. Not when her mother's 88 and riding horses still. So yes, fun times. But yeah, like having that QHHT session certainly shifted so much for me around all that mother stuff and a lot of other things too. Oh, that's right. I said I was going to tell you guys about Karma and my partner's dog. So Alex's dog, so him and I have had a really funky relationship right from the beginning. And Alex said on my very first visit to his house, he said, don't get offended by the dog. Like, he doesn't really like anybody. And it took a little while we we had a few little moments where things were okay, and it would generally be when Alex wasn't here. And what we came to realize is that the dog and I have shared a previous life, but this is going back a long, long time ago, back to like Mongolian times. Think sort of Genghis Khan, that sort of rough time. And we were both nasty pasties. Like, we'd both done really horrendous shit to each other. And the final word was mine, in that I had gone and barricaded his family, his wife and children, in their yurt. And I had, at that time, burnt it to the ground and killed his family. And so he, the dog, has pulled that through with him. And I've now activated that in him, of him going, I hate you. You killed my family. I've got to protect you from my family. And of course, Alex is his family. And so when I get close to Alex, he feels like he has to yell at me to get away. You're my family. You're getting near my family. Get away, get away. And you can see it. His body changes. He gets really low in his butt, and his shoulders come out, and he's like, you know. And it is an interesting moment to watch what happens for him. And of course, he's 16 now, and he's starting to get a bit of dementia. He's starting to lose his eyesight. He's starting to lose his hearing. And so little noises that he does hear, he sort of gets really ramped up about. And I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of Reiki. I've done a lot of other sorts of healing modalities and things with him to try and help ease through this process. I've done Ho'oponopono many, many times. And when Alex is not here, he's fine with me. He completely is like, just like, oh, okay, here you are. All right, no worries. He just goes off, toodles off, or goes to sleep in one of his 3 beds or whatever. And he's just sweet. Like, there's no issues with us. As soon as Alex is here, that's when he arcs up. And it was like, So at this point in time, I'm grateful to him for showing me that. I'm grateful to him for showing me like some of the more brutal sides of what I have been in the past, what I'm capable of, and that it's important to know that I've got so many different capacities. I can be kind and loving and gentle, and I can also be incredibly brutal. And he's just showing me some different aspects. He's also encouraging me to continuing to practice my patience, and no matter how he's showing up with me. He's also showing me moments where I am deeply in my masculine, and that is jarring to him. So I appreciate that. He's showing me all the time the things that I can help to reset that balance for us. And so the more I sit in that space of unconditional love and kindness, because at the end of the day, he's got hardly any teeth. He can't, even if he was to try and bite me, he can't do any damage. But yeah, truthful can be brutal. You're absolutely correct, Brooke. And if we like to think that we are all angels and we would never do anything to harm another person or blah, 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 that's not necessarily the truth. And this is one of the things that's he's helping me with, is to just remember there's all sorts of different aspects of self. past, present, and future. And we have the capacity to be with those energies and have ease with those energies no matter how they are. We can tap into them, and it's okay. It's okay. It just depends on, like, I don't blame him for the brutal bastards we were in the past. Part of his journey now is to work on himself and figure out how to have peace with me, and also for me to have peace with him even when he's arcing up. So yes, thank you, Naomi. We are all yin and yang, good and bad, and that's why I say it's all the good, the bad, the ugly, and the awesome, right? Because we're all of that and more. So yes, it's interesting. It's a very interesting dynamic, and he shows me different things all the time, and I'm just like, when I have that moment and that point of clarity and that 5D thinking of going, okay, I'm being activated right now. What's going on here? Why am I feeling frustrated? What's going on here? You know, if he's having his moment, and I think to myself, he's like 80 something years old in human years. He's just a grumpy old man. And then when I go like that, I'm like, oh, all right. It's like if there was a grumpy old man like him at a house and I was cleaning, would I treat it as a funny thing, or would I get angry? And, you know, it's like, no, I'd be cool. I'd be just like, oh yeah, blah, 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 which is what I do to the dog sometimes. It's like, he's going, and I'm just like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And even when I'm feeding him, it's like we're getting him to sit. And it's like, I just wait. Peacefully. Just wait. Send him messages in my head with pictures to sit down. And it's good. It's all good. Alrighty. So coming back to that question from Christine. Okay. I have one more, because she put in another donation, because she's awesome. I'm looking at PEMF mat that I have seen in the conference in Orlando and tried during the breaks for fast healing. Is it good for me to get moving forward? See, this is so the brand is Centropix Cloud plus PEMF. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, let's move these back. Alrighty, show me the yes. Show me the no. Thank you. So truth. What will it create if Christine gets the PEMF mat? Okay, let's just pause. Truth, what will it create in 100 years? No. Truth, what will it create in 1,000 years if Christine gets the PEMF mat? Yeah, that's a no. Save your money. Save your money. You'll find something else that'll work for you. I'll just double check with this one, because this is like our one that's focused on health. Okay, truth, what will it create in 1,000 years if Christine gets the PEMF mat? That's a no. Truth, what will it create in 1,000 years if Christine does not get the PEMF mat? Here we go. That shifted to a yes. So, not getting it, save your money, find something else to work on. Works, and there's something else that's going to help you more. And start using your own intuition, love. You know how to do it. Do the pendulum, like using your body as a pendulum. For those of you who are aware of muscle testing, and maybe those of you who are not, muscle testing is really amazing. And it was funny because there was something that came up this morning and I watched this big old infomercial on it. I don't even know why I did, but anyway, there was one part in there that I was like, ooh, that's relevant, because I've got all the body tingles, but there was so much else with it that I was just like, yeah. And so then I stood up and I asked my body to show me the yes and to show me the no, because that's how you do it. And so the best way to do using the body as a pendulum is to face north. Make sure you've drunk some water beforehand, but face north and ask the body to show you a yes. And if you do it with your eyes closed, it's better. But until you're particularly familiar with it, make sure that there's something near you so that you can just place your hand up, because generally, and I'm going to say generally, a yes is forward and a no is backwards. And when you allow yourself to just let your body show you your intuition, some funny things can happen. So this morning I hopped up out of bed and I was like, cool, I've had a bit of water, and I'd watched this thing and I was considering getting the program, and it was through the platform of Mind Valley, and I was like, yeah, this sounds pretty good actually. And like, you can have access to all these other online programs through Mind Valley, and I was like, I stood up and I went, truth, what will it create if I buy this program? And the no was so big that it pushed me over and made me sit down on my bed. And I was like, oh my God. Okay. So I was like, maybe it's just because I've just gotten up. So I stood up and I went, truth, what will it create in 1,000 years if I get this program? And I didn't even finish the sentence and I was sitting back on my bed again. It was like, that's such a big no. And I went, okay, so the information that I needed to know about that for me to go and find more out about, I've got that. I don't need to know anymore. So that just cracked me up. I was like, oh my God, that is hilarious. Oh, dearie me. Alrighty. Human pendulum. Yep. It's a bloody good way to do it. I have a few different techniques that I use for awareness. Obviously, there's different ones that I do with here when I'm in this show, because I can't be standing up and doing my body pendulum all the time. And I don't carry pendulums with me. So for me, pendulum work is something that I have to really specifically think about. But my body's always with me. My body knows stuff. So that's why I do it that way. But yes, it's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Alrighty. Just having some water. All right. Let's have some poetry time. It's been a little while. So, as you know, some of you, maybe all of you, what we're going to do is we're going to do the expanding out tool first, because we always get better poems, more relevant poems for you, and it takes you out of 3D thinking and takes you to 5D or beyond, and then you can actually choose a poem that is more relevant to you. Okay, so that is what we'll do now. So we're going to close our eyes if it's safe to do so. Take a big deep breath in, right down to the bottom of your belly. And breathing out. Breathing in, bringing the beautiful Mother Earth up through your body. And breathing out, bringing Father Sky energy all the way down. Just rebalancing those masculine and feminine energies. And now you're going to expand out your awareness beyond your body. And a big, beautiful bubble up into the sky and down into the earth. Expanding out your awareness out beyond the size of your home or the building that you're in. And expanding out your awareness beyond the size of the country that you're in, beyond the size of the planet. Becoming aware of the lovely energies of the full moon, how potent they are. And at this point, we can actually pause here and just also become aware of the potency of the sun and the solar flares. And just feeling how that energy is rippling across the planet right now. Now expanding out your awareness beyond the solar system, beyond the galaxies, and beyond the universes. Beautiful. Just taking a couple of breaths while you've got your awareness nice and expanded out. And at this point, you might be feeling, if you're in touch with your body, you might be feeling a bit of tension in different areas of your body that you didn't notice before. That's quite normal, and it's going to ease off in just a few moments. So as you focus on your body and you're becoming aware of those tension points, I'm going to ask you to expand out your allowance. And your allowance is your ability to perceive, know, be, and receive all energies from no point of view. The good, the bad, the ugly, and the awesome. You can perceive all of it without resistance and reaction or judgment. So you go from being that tight, contracted little pebble at the bottom of the raging river of everybody else's thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and sitting in blame and shame and regret and guilt. And you expand out to become like a nice, fluffy cloud floating above that river. And you can see it for exactly what it is. It's just energy. You can choose to respond to it or just float on by and let it be. And that's what expanding out your allowance is all about. It's giving you the choice. So now as you expand out your allowance beyond your body, expanding out your allowance beyond the building that you're in, beyond the country that you're in a big bubble up into the sky, down into the earth, expanding out your allowance beyond the size of the planet, beyond the size of the solar system, beyond the size of the galaxies, and now beyond your awareness. Take a big deep breath in. And as you breathe out, just notice those tight, tensiony spots have just suddenly disappeared. And now as you're in this expanded space, I'd like you to become aware of the first number between and inclusive of 1 and 88. What is the number that is going to create the most for you in 100 years' time? When that number pops into your mind, put it in the chat and we'll do the poem. Alrighty. Melinda, 78. The dark place revisited. Tears floating down into the nothingness of my heart. Blank and empty, a false entity feeling so hard it becomes numb. Petrified of the dark void in the place deep inside, frightened of the falling into the place, struggling to get out, exhausted. So, Melinda, this is really a poem about emotional disruption. I'm going to put it that way. And I'm going to read what it says underneath this one because we've not read this poem at all in the 3 years that we've been doing this show. So it says, because there's part of this which is relevant to you, and the part that's relevant is about your support structure around you, okay, and acknowledging that. Not a great start to my 30s. He broke it off with me just 4 days after my birthday. It was so sudden and I was heartbroken. My wonderful friends gathered around me, holding me, passing me the tissues, and taking me out into nature to heal my body and spirit. I am grateful for that time together as he showed me what an energetic connection can look like, how it would be if I got together with someone with kids, and that I had become quite complete within my own space, and I am strong. So with that particular poem, and as we have asked what's going to create the most for you in 1,000 years time, this, what I'm sensing with this one is that this is the place where you feel the most vulnerable. It's like you feel vulnerable and wishing to be in another relationship, but also there's that aspect of being very frightened of what will happen if it doesn't work out. And this is when I was talking about your support structure, and it's about keeping that really strong, even if you're feeling really super tired. And obviously you have to acknowledge that too, because I mean, you've started a new job, it's full on. all that sort of stuff. So get out in nature if you can. Okay, go down to the beach. You don't live too far from the beach, if that's what lights you up. Go to the bush or the trees or whatever it is that makes you feel connected, and try to make some time to spend with friends. Because no matter what happens, whether you get into another relationship or not, that friendship structure takes effort. It's a relationship. And so making that time to have those supports in place, regardless of what happens in the future, the good, the bad, the ugly, or the awesome, that's what will help you for a long, long time. Okay. So thank you. Thank you for bringing that one up. I had forgotten I'd written it, to be fair. Naomi, 77. Interesting that you guys chose those numbers together. Patience, my girl. If he's supposed to be yours, then he will be. You have made the connection over distance already. He loves you with all of his heart, soul, and body. He will do almost anything to talk and be with you. So he has some things he needs to sort. You know this year is about patience. This is another instance, another lesson. Breathe. Feel the love and the warmth because it is true. Trust it. Trust in yourself. Trust that what has been said before is true. And then at the bottom there, I've got long distance connections are tricky at best. But the main message in there is about patience. And when it comes to any relationship, especially with a lover, partner, whatever you want to call them, that's where we are tested the most with our patience. And then the next relationship that we are tested the most with patience is the relationship we have with ourselves. And sometimes we're lucky and we can have a pretty easeful relationship with ourselves, but other times we just don't. And for someone like yourself who loves to be on the go and loves to keep creating and moving forward and stuff like that, I can imagine patience for you, much like for me, is something that you've had to create, develop. And there we go. You've got your international husband now. He's on an international flight. So there we go, long distance stuff. He is yours. He does love you with his heart, mind, and body. Trust that. Trust that he loves you very, very much, and you. That's very sweet. I like that. And yeah, you'll be all good. Truly, truly. Breathe. Feel his warmth. Feel his love. Because you're pretty amazing and you've got some pretty magical skills. So I reckon if you really wanted to right now, you could actually go into meditation. And maybe this is something you do, maybe it's not, but I reckon you'd be able to actually trace the thread that ties you two together. And you could feel it as it stretches around the planet, as this plane is flying. And you'll be able to identify exactly where he is in the world. Because you guys have been together a long time. So there we go. Long distance relationships at the best. Oh, that's so cute. All right, Christine, 24. Aw, you chose the number, love. The entanglement. As I get tangled deeper into the web of love, of overwhelm, The overwhelming feeling of sadness covers me. I need you to be near. I cry these tears, and although they are in sadness, they are for the love that I feel for you. Sometimes you question if I really do love you. These tears aren't fake, and neither are my words. This web which is being woven around my heart is especially for you and me. No matter how far apart we are, I know that we'll be thinking of each other in that special way that only a couple can. This particular poem for you, Christine, is about showing you a different possibility and showing you the energies within this particular entanglement that are allowing you to choose something different for the future. There's a lot of healing going on between you two, and that's part of why there's tears and why there's sadness. And sure, you do love the person, but at the same time, there's a lot of grief and a lot of anger and frustration sitting in there too. And when there are those questions of, do you truly love me? It's like, it's because they're aware also of your wonk, of your moment of going, I don't know if I really feel this. And it's also a signal of, when they question that, it's a signal of how they feel of their own self-worth. They probably don't feel like they're worthy of your love. And that's all information. It's information for you. So it's information for you, and that you get to see it from your perspective, but you're also smart enough to be able to see it from theirs as well. And go, okay, all right, I can see where that's coming from. I can see where these different responses are coming from. It might be trauma. It might be trauma. It might be, from when they were young. Maybe they had a poor relationship with their mother or father or both. And they're also working out their stuff, their karmic stuff through you. So this is an interesting one to bring up, because the other part that was sitting in this after blurb, there's part of it here that seems to be quite relevant to you, which is, it truly wasn't about me not loving you. What you were aware of is my slight hesitancy in fully being vulnerable with you. And when we have a hesitancy about being vulnerable, it can mean two things. Number one, it can mean that you've been hurt terribly in the past and are just not sure about leaning in. The other one, it can be that you're in protection mode because the current relationship is actually hurting you, and you're not willing to be vulnerable there either. So if you're having a rough time, I'm sending you lots of love. And if you're finding you're not being supported, then again, sending you lots of love, and also the strength to make the choices that you require to make. Okay. Thank you for choosing. And in relation to your question of, 1,000 years time, this is something that if you don't work through now and you don't make some solid choices that are going to give you the freedom to be whole and safe and happy and in a space where you can be fully vulnerable with someone, this is going to keep rolling around over and over and over again. I saw it in my life until I've been with Alex. This is that sort of that narcissistic gaslighting type theme just kept repeating over and over and over again until I really looked at what was it in me that was bringing that into my life. Where am I being narcissistic with myself? And where am I gaslighting myself? That was an interesting deep dive into my own psychology, for sure. So, yeah, there's some cool stuff for you. Catherine. So thank you. Thank you for choosing the number, and I wish you loads of luck with that little bit of self-discovery. 63. Oh, Catherine. You've had some different energy flow through lately, huh? You and me. We are united, you and me. Not always happy, you and me. But we sure do try, you and me. So sad when we're apart, you and me. Don't quite know what to do without you and me. Love isn't always easy with you and me. Other things interfere with you and me. Just wish we could be just you and me. Living peacefully, you and me. Loving each other, you and me. Eternally just you and me. So this is interesting. So like I said, there's been some interesting changes with your energies and who you've had around you. And what I'm seeing with this one is this is a calling out to your beautiful body. Just asking you to be a bit gentler and kinder with her. But also when it comes to your friendships and things around you, to not let them interfere with how you are choosing to run your life. Obviously, if there's things that are causing you harm and somebody is saying to you, hey, do you really think you should be choosing that anymore? Yeah, see, my throat is just gone all bleh. It's like, oh. It's okay for people to express to you that they care about you. And we don't always get it right. We don't always get it right. So just be gentle, be kind to yourself, okay? And just know that without your connection to you, you're a bit lost. So just keep coming back to your heart space, keep coming back to you. And remember, this was a question about what would it create in 1,000 years? So it's like, what will this particular pathway? So reconnecting to you and having that kindness and compassion with you is going to create so much more in the next 1,000 years with your energy in the collective than what it will be if we're in spaces of blame and judgment about your body, about how you're choosing to live, about who you hang out with, all that sort of stuff. All right. Be kind and gentle. Be kind and gentle with you. Good morning, Paul. So lovely to have you join us. Yeah, to go ghost hunting. You're going ghost hunting? How cool is that? Oh my goodness. Whereabouts are you going ghost hunting, Paul? Yes. Oh, I could tell you some stories about ghosties. Oh dear. Maybe I will tell you a story about ghosties. So, at the Sayre Mansion in PA, is that Pennsylvania? I don't know. I don't know the codes. I'm like, well, it's not Massachusetts, duh. Oh, forgive me. Um, so, um, not my very first experience with ghosts. Actually, I will tell you that. That's a shorter story. And we had moved from Auckland, which is a big city, down to a very, very small country town where at Christmas time, when everybody had the extended family over, it was maybe 500 people. So very, very small. And we had moved into a home that had been sort of in a family for a long time. And on that land had been in the generations for a very long, quite a few generations. Anyway, because I was a city kid, I was very used to collecting the mail in the mailbox. And the mailbox was at the front gate of our property. And because what I didn't realize at that time, I was 6.5, that our mail was actually over at the post office, because it was a country town and all the mail just went to the country post office. And then we'd have to go and make a special trip to the post office to go get it, which wasn't far. It was just like a 10-minute walk, 15-minute walk max. But anyway, it was 10 minutes if we cut across the paddocks. And I was there and I went out to go and collect the mail, and it was just on dusk. And I looked over at the open gate, and there was this big, tall, black, like dark figure there with a long raincoat on, kind of like I think we call them a swan dry. And a farmer's hat, like a wide brim farmer's swan dry type hat, waterproof. And he was so tall. I mean, I was short. I was a little 6.5-year-old. I was still tiny, and I'm not exactly tall now. I'm only 6'4". 5'4". God, I reckon he was probably over 6 foot though. So for a little 6.5-year-old, I'm like, oh my God. So I've run inside, and I've never been afraid of the dark, but that particular day I was like, oh my God. And I ran inside and I shut the door, and I was just like, didn't say anything to anybody. And then it happened again, I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks later, it happened again. And this time I've run back inside with nothing, because there was nothing in the mailbox to check. And I've shut the door and I've locked it. And this is back in the 80s. So there was no, we didn't lock doors back in the 80s. Like, come on, it's the country. Who's going to break in? I don't think that was even in our thought process of that somebody might just walk into your house. Like, it just didn't occur to us. And my mum was like, Lorene, what are you doing? And I went, there's somebody out there. And she's like looking directly, because she was sitting at the kitchen table or the dining table and looking out through the big ranch slider, and you could see to the front gate. And she's like, Lorene, there's nobody out there. And I'm like, yes, there is. And she's like, no, you're dreaming. And so that was my very first experience with ghosts. And it wasn't till many, many years later, like within the last 10-ish years, when I started talking more about my capacities with seeing entities, that my auntie, who had lived in the house just before we had moved in, she confirmed that she had also seen the same entity. And what it turned out to be the previous owner's father, so old Grandpa Mac. And he didn't actually live in that house, but he lived in the one down the road, but he used to have the entire property. And so he was basically just doing his rounds to make sure that he was like, everything was shipshape and doing okay. Like, he never ever came on the property. He never was threatening or anything like that. He just stood at the gate and just had a look. And he just happened to be there right at the same time that I was when I saw him those couple of times. I think I saw him maybe 3 or 4 times. But, you know, with that, my capacities to see ghosts started getting shut down a little bit because of my mum's reaction of there's nobody out there. And I'm like, oh, okay, maybe she's right. But no, I see and hear a lot more these days. My sight, my hearing, the feeling of them has returned, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it now, but it took a while. So that was the very first one that I recall. Much shorter story than some of the others. So yeah, interesting that you have holy water with you. So you're giving me a little bit of information about the mansion, staying overnight in Marcia room. He had passed away. So it was built in 1907. Yeah, wow. Yeah, it was really cool. And at the end of the day, if you're willing and open to seeing them, you will see and feel them. If you're sitting there being a full-on skeptic, then you're more than likely not to. It's kind of like there was a traveling hypnotist back in the 90s, and I was at high school, and they were doing a show, and I got called up. Well, I volunteered to go up and get hypnotized, and they couldn't hypnotize me. I had to sit back down. And the interesting thing is that when I went to do the QHHT session, which is where you go into a state of deep hypnosis, that was no trouble at all. And I think it was probably about trust. I didn't want to really get up there and be a dickhead on stage in front of my community. And so I was highly skeptical at 15 that he was going to be able to do it. So yeah. I also have the flashlight to take any questions. Cool. So yeah, there's lots of cool stuff around ghosts and stuff. I had an instance with my dad when he passed away. I had a few instances with him initially, actually. Like, I say now that he's passed, and I don't mean this in a malicious way, that we actually have a better relationship now that he has passed than what we had when he was alive. And partly because we had no contact for more than 20 years. So that's part of it. But when he initially passed away, and this can happen sometimes with entities, before they realize that there are actually rules around being in the spirit realm, sometimes they can get a little bit full of themselves, and he was one of them. And he actually started messing with the health of my sister's boyfriend at the time, and giving him heart palpitations and things like that. And it was so interesting to see what was happening. And then she had a dream about, and Dad was in the dream, and she had asked him a question, and he'd replied with in a not very complimentary way. And she brought it up to me, and she was just so upset, and I was just like, well. And when I realized what Dad was doing with this girl's boyfriend and his health, I had to have very stern words with him. And I said to him, oi, are you actually doing that? And he's like, yes, because I don't want him anywhere near my daughter. And I'm like, well, Dad, it's not your choice to make. No, that's not acceptable. It's not okay. It's not ethical. It's not moral. You need to back off right the fuck now. Whatever journey she's on, she has to make that for herself. And I know you don't want to see her making mistakes, and I get it. I fucking get it. But you have to back the fuck off. You do not get to do that to anybody else, and certainly not with their health. And he's like going, like this. I could feel him. He was just like, and he's hanging around here now because I'm talking about him. And he's kind of like, yeah, I did that. And the miracle upon miracles, as soon as I did that, the boyfriend stopped having heart problems. So yeah, it's a fascinating world, absolutely fascinating. And that was before I'd really I'd had a couple of other ghost experiences before that happened. So I think that was all just kind of leading up to me being able to handle him when he needed to be handled. And he's good now. He will support when he's asked, because he knows that that's what is the requirement. But other than that, he just sits back and he relaxes, and he pops in when I'm talking about him. Adding his little bit of jokey mirth and stuff in there. He's a funny little character, my dad. And he's just said, I'm not so little. He's like, oh my God. He wasn't a fat man at all. He was never ever a fat man. He's just a big personality. And I don't even know that he was 6 foot. I think he was probably around 5. He's telling me 5'11". So there you go. Certainly not a 6 foot man. So I don't know where Daniel got his, that's my brother. I don't know where he got his 6-footishness from. So yeah, ghost stories. There's so many more that I have. I've done many sessions where I've helped people to move entities off of them. I've had cases where I can think of one gentleman who came to me for many sessions, in-person bodywork sessions, and he was working out some karma with his wife, and in a previous life they had she had actually been like a kind of like a priestess, I guess you could say. And she had done some really terrible things to him. And as a result of that, he energetically had these chains going from around his middle, around his genitalia, and down to his foot, his toe. And so if he was to try and run to get away from her, these chains, which had like this cup, basically, this, like think of a shackle that goes around his genitalia, and they had spikes on the inside of the shackle like that. And so if he tried to run, which of course would mean extending his foot out, the shackle would be pulled, and it would pull on his genitalia so that he couldn't run. And if he did anything that was not to her liking, she could harm him. And there was like another shackle around his toe, so that it was spikes that would dig into his foot. And brutal, absolutely brutal. And there was another part that had like a knife that was sort of just on the side of his, just in the side there. So it was like, it was just enough. It was very fine, and it was just enough to keep him subdued. And with all of that, she'd also imprinted a whole bunch of entities to keep everything in place. So it was like, it was quite a big journey to, well, a big process in that one day, one session, sorry, to remove all of the entities first, which then revealed all of this other paraphernalia, and then energetically melting all of that away. And then the knife in the side was, I had to basically encourage that out to dislimit, like get rid of that. And then she'd also tipped it in poison. So it's like if he got too worked up and his heart pumped too much, it would stab just the tip of the heart, like just the very, and then it would like release a little bit of poison. So he had to stay calm and subservient at all times, and if he didn't, he would be punished. And I was just like, oh my god. So that was a really, really fascinating client to work with. And the entities can do many things. They can be just, they naturally are floating around us all the fucking time. And like people go, oh, you're aware of this and that in my normal day, and I'm like, no, because I turn it off. Otherwise I'd go insane if I saw all the entities around all the time. And then there's spaces like this where I become a little bit more aware of them. But when I'm in my healing sessions, that's when I fully open up and I allow my body to be aware of what is happening with the person in front of me. And yeah, there's so many things. Even before I really fully got into all this healing stuff, my second husband has a house and it has a custodian, and his name's Victor, Vic for short. And Victor has very strong opinions about his home, and that it is not to be worked on when the person is drunk or angry or both. So if my second husband was drunk and angry, Vic would make the house very, very, very cold, incredibly uncomfortable. He would activate the mice because at that time there was mice, quite a few mice hanging around, but he would activate them and just make everything incredibly cold and uncomfortable, and tools would go flying out of my partner's hand, and then he'd just put it off to, I haven't got a proper grip or whatever, and I'm like, nah. And when we were going to build the shed down the back, like this big huge shed, I specifically had a conversation with Victor, and I said to him, Victor, we're looking at building this big shed down the back for the cars and as a tool shed and all that sort of thing. Is that all right with you? Do we have your permission to build this shed? Because I want it to go ahead without any issues. And he said, oh yes, every man needs a shed. Which doesn't surprise me at all, because there was like 4 sheds on the property when Victor died. So yeah, he's a funny old character, but he still pops up from time to time. And there was one time the house wasn't ready to be lived in yet, but we were camping sort of thing after a festival with some friends of ours, and we had like the drop sheets, which were plastic, and we just rolled them back out of the way, and we were sleeping in like separate bedrooms, and both of us, like me and him and our friends who were in the other room, heard like steel cap boots walking up the hallway and going swish, swish, swish past the drop sheets, and we're like, we heard it once, didn't do anything. We thought that our friends were just going to the toilet or something, wondering why they had steel cap boots on, but whatever, maybe they're a bit heavy footed. And then we heard it again, but going the opposite way. And that's when we called out and said, hey, you guys all right out there? And they're like, that wasn't us. And we're like, oh, okay. It was just Victor checking up because he wasn't used to people sleeping in the house yet, because there hadn't been anybody sleeping there for 10 years. So he was just like, who the hell's in my house? So yeah, have fun. Ghosts are interesting things. I find them quite fascinating. I find during the daytime, I haven't done a nighttime tour yet, but I find graveyards so interesting. So it's cool that you're going to this house, and I hope you do get to experience something, and just keep yourself aware. And you don't have to be frightened or anything. They're generally not out to hurt you. I say generally. And like that moment with my dad, that's a very rare occasion. And most of the time, they just want to be heard. Their story, their whatever it is, they actually just want to be heard. They want to be seen and acknowledged. Sometimes they need to be reminded that they're dead. They don't actually realize that they're dead. Sometimes, like Victor, he's just really, really happy being connected to that home, and he's happy to be a custodian of it, of the land and of the home. There's probably nothing I could do to help move him on, because he knows he's dead and he's quite happy being attached to the home. His wife, who died after him, she's nowhere in sight. She's like, yeah, sweet, I'm out of here. So she's I've never ever once felt her in that property. And it's very fascinating. Ghosts and entities are very, very fascinating things. I won't tell you about demons. They're a bit nasty sometimes. That's a story for another day, but when you're not going on a ghost hunt. Alrighty. Well, my friends, we've done poems. We have shared stories. We've done some readings. We've done some pendulum work. We're doing well. So let us do our meditation now. And let me just see. Oh. Gosh, there's a lot in here. Okay. Cool. All right. So if you recall from the... Okay, bye, Paul. Have a great weekend. I won't see you next week because I won't be here. I'm going to be in New Zealand, so getting my accent refreshed. So, yes, I'll see you in a fortnight. Okay. So in the weekly reading, we had the card that came up about seeking balance. So beautifully, there is actually a lovely thank you. It's a very, very quick trip. Sort of flying in late Wednesday night and coming home very early Monday morning. Or flying out very early Monday morning. So a very quick in and out trip, but that's because it's my half sister's wedding and I really wish to go. So that's the main thing. So with this one, we are going to be doing a little bit of a visualizing meditation, but we will just quickly refresh the expanding out tool, and then we will do some stuff around the yin and the yang because we haven't done that before. So that's cool. Oh goodness, moving lots of energy. So take a big deep breath in, my friends, and breathing out. Breathing in, bringing Mother Earth and the unconditional love all the way up through your body. And as you breathe out, bringing Father Sky and the gratitude for everything and everyone all the way down your body. Once more, Mother Earth and the unconditional love all the way up. And Father Sky and the gratitude for everything and everyone all the way down. Now just checking that you're nice and expanded out with your awareness out beyond the planet, the solar system, the galaxies and the universes, out beyond wherever you've been before. Expanding out your allowance. And that beautiful big bubble out beyond your body, the planet, the solar system, the universes, and out beyond your awareness. Taking another big deep breath in and just feeling your body relax and become calm. And as you are in this beautiful space now of calmness, I'd like you to visualize an area of your life where you might not be so in balance. Just have a little think about that. Just keep your body nice and relaxed. Remember, you're like that nice big fluffy cloud above the raging river. And now I'd like you to visualize a yin and yang symbol. You know, the one that has the white dot in the black half and the dot of black in the white half, and is bound by a circle of union. It represents the ancient Chinese philosophy that everything in the universe is interconnected and interdependent. As you focus and meditate on the interaction of the two opposite yet complementary energies that exist within the greater whole, and the new element created by their merging. Seeing those teardrop shapes and how they all fit together with a circle around the outside, the teardrops and the spots. And then focus on the yin and the yang, the so-called feminine and masculine energies within you. Sense whether they are swirling together in harmony or if they are out of balance. You might find that one half of your body seems to be heavier than the other. If it's the left side that is heavier, that's your feminine energy. If it's the right side, it's your masculine. If you've been giving too much of yourself, or feel overly emotional or introspective, visualize yourself diving into the white half of the yin-yang symbol. Submerge yourself in its hot, active, expansive energy. If you're feeling stressed or overworked, dive into the black yin pool. Absorb its cool, gentle, nurturing energy. Finding balance in your life requires an acceptance of all aspects of your inner self. The protector and the nurturer, the positive and the negative, the strong and the vulnerable. The spirit of balance, completion, and oneness is present in the melding of masculine and feminine energies, the conscious and the unconscious, the physical and the spiritual, the God and the goddess, and the inner and outer worlds. Seeking your opposite aspect in a partner instead of within means you've lost a part of yourself, and you need to rediscover it to truly be balanced and at peace. Just giving you a moment to feel the difference within your body, feeling that stress melting away. Much the same as if you've been highly emotional, and that can be anger, sadness, all of the emotions. Diving into that lovely white half of the yin-yang symbol. Maybe you're finding yourself moving between the two. There's aspects of both that have been playing out in your world lately. Now take a big deep breath in, and doing a quick observation of your body. Have you returned to a place of balance within? Or is there still more to explore? Allowing yourself the time and space to be able to nourish and nurture and have your own back. It's a beautiful thing. Creating the balance you require from within. So as we have gratitude for this process and we say thank you, thank you, thank you. It is done, it is done, it is done. And we take a lovely big deep breath in and breathing out. Bringing Mother Earth and energy all the way up through your body. Bringing Father Sky all the way down. Bringing Mother Earth and the gratitude, Mother Earth and the unconditional love all the way up. And Father Sky and the gratitude for everything and everyone all the way down. And with that, you may open your eyes, have a little drink of water. Very nice, simple technique there for you to choose to play with. Now is the perfect time because it is full moon and you can use that yin and yang symbol and feeling within to be able to shift some of those energies that are no longer serving you, that are asking to be released. As we have gone through the show tonight, you may have found you have remembered things about people or things that have activated you in some way, shape or form. Now's a good time to release that too. So, until we meet again in 2 weeks' time, I would love you to get out there and do something super tasty for yourselves. Don't forget to have some water and take care of yourself with some water, maybe a little bit of salt in your water. And until I see you on the 1st of November, be bold, be brave, be you, my beautiful friends, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.